Ladies and gentlemen, what you are witnessing unraveling right before your eyes is step 1 of a little plan that I like to call the T-Best Takeover. YouTube is my bitch now. I'm making all that YouTube money, no, I'm only kidding. This is a Modern Warfare 3 on the PC. The reason why I wanted to mention the fact that it was on the PC was because for those of you who play on console, this might look a little bit weird to you because the console field of view is different from the PC field of view, but I'm sure that you were all dying to know that irrelevant information, so why don't I continue on with this delicious story that I have for you all today. So back in 8th grade, now keep in mind here, I just graduated high school, so this story took place about 4 or 5 years ago, give or take. I used to have this Spanish teacher named Mrs. Shaw. That's not her real name, but I figured that naming her would make the story easier for you guys to follow. And she wasn't even Spanish either, she was Italian, but I do see the correlation there, because the Italian language and the Spanish language are similar in a few aspects, but you don't even have to be Spanish to be a Spanish teacher, you can be any ethnicity, but that's besides the point. So she was also rather heavyset, aka fat. She also smelled really, really bad, and of course, the highlight of the story, which is why I'm even telling it in the first place, she was the biggest bitch in the world, and she did not belong teaching at all, let alone teaching kids, because she was terrible at dealing with kids and she was terrible at teaching. Some people have that talent and some people don't. But anyway, so I was in a class with about a total of 8 people, so this class was really, really small. And one day she's like, you know what guys, we're gonna do something fun. We're gonna play soccer. Yes, I called it soccer, big deal. I'm American, that's what I call it. And we were all excited. But what she didn't tell us was that she was only getting a soccer ball so that we could play soccer inside the classroom. And that is where things went horribly wrong for poor Miss Shaw. I don't know about you guys, but every single time that I used to play soccer, which I actually did play by the way, but I don't play anymore, it used to be on some sort of an outdoor field. But there was the one case scenario where I did play in an indoor league, but it was held inside of a school gym so that there was plenty enough space to play the game appropriately. But no, Miss Teacher of the Year thought that playing soccer in a classroom filled with breakable things using a real soccer ball, she thought that that was going to be a great idea. And she gave a soccer ball to a bunch of 8th grade kids that hated her, and she expected us to be gentle and to be responsible. Oh no, that's not what happened at all. The minute she put the soccer ball down for us to play, kids started kicking it across the room, you know, breaking things. There was one kid who kicked it, hit the clock in the room, the clock fell down and shattered because it was made of glass. And then she was panicking, she was calling the office. I think maybe some other teachers were calling the office too because it was making a loud noise banging against the walls, so I guess it was disturbing some other classrooms. And then yours truly took the ball. I took the ball and I punted it as hard as I can at the ceiling. Now keep in mind, I went to a public school and it wasn't exactly rich, so the ceilings were really, really fragile. The tiles were just so fragile, you could touch them and they would move and this and that. So I kicked the ball, it broke 3 of the tiles came down, dust came down, all this white stuff came down, and she literally had a panic attack at that point. She was sitting at her desk, gasping for air. Somebody called the school nurse came, took her blood pressure, gave her some Advil or something. She was having a nervous breakdown. However, the story doesn't even end there. Remember how I said that Miss Shaw smelt really bad in addition to being fat and in addition to being a really big bitch? Well, it turns out that she herself actually did not smell. It was just her room. Something in her room was emitting this terrible, terrible odor, and it was unbearable for the class every single day. So when the nurse took her out of the room to go down to the nurse's office, and when the principal came in to finally reprimand us for what we did, the principal was just about to speak, and then all of a sudden he stopped and said, "What's that smell?" And of course we had no idea because it smelled like shit every day in that freaking room. So he tried to find the source. He was looking around and finally he went to one of her cabinets used for storage. So he opens up the cabinet and he finds a toilet seat and a whole bunch of toiletry objects, like a plunger and toilet paper and stuff. And this odor was just coming out of the closet, and he was like, oh my god, that is disgusting, kids, get out of the room. He brought us out of the room, we sat in the office, and it was just a really weird day. I mean, could you imagine going into one of your employees' storage closet things and finding a toilet seat and finding toilet paper and a toilet plunger inside of a closet? What is that doing in her closet? What is the purpose of having that? She's a teacher. She's not responsible for dealing with the bathrooms and stuff. That's the janitor's job. Nobody ended up getting in trouble in the end because the principal, I guess, found it sort of idiotic that a teacher would actually allow students to play with a soccer ball inside of a classroom with a whole bunch of breakable things in it. And also, Miss Shaw was a weirdo for having a whole bunch of toiletry objects inside of her storage closet, which caused a terrible, terrible odor in her class. So she ended up getting let go, fired, laid off, whatever you want to say, about a month and a half later, and I have not seen her since, in good riddance because she definitely does not belong in the field of teaching. and she's a weird ass for having shit like that in her closet. Like, why would you make your students sit through an unbearable odor just because you want to have your toiletry objects inside of your storage closet? Jesus. That's going to bring the story to a conclusion, so thank you all so much for watching. Also, Sneako, myself, Biblical Reaper, and JD from NY are going to be doing a podcast on August 1st at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I think it's going up on Sneako's channel, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So definitely be on the lookout for that podcast, because all four of us, it's going to be one hell of a good time. Anyways, if you like this video, feel free to come and check out my channel. It'll be linked somewhere, I guess. But thank you so much for watching again, and as always, take it easy.